Imagine watching your firstborn son make a promise that cuts deeper than any tabloid headline ever could. A promise that quietly reshapes the very foundation of your family forever. This is the heartache David and Victoria Beckham never saw coming. Brooklyn Beckham stands at 25 years old, golden hair catching the California sunlight. His mother's piercing eyes meeting his father's legendary jawline. But today, those familiar features carry the weight of a decision that has left his parents reeling in ways the public has never truly understood. The story begins not with Brooklyn's birth, but with a moment 3 years ago that changed everything. October 2022, a beachside ceremony in Palm Beach, Florida. Brooklyn marrying Nicola Peltz, heiress to a billionaire fortune that dwarfs even the Beckham empire. Victoria Beckham sits in the front row that day, designer sunglasses hiding tears that aren't entirely from joy. She watches her eldest son exchange vows with a woman whose family wealth makes their own success feel almost quaint in comparison. David reaches over, squeezes her hand. Neither of them knows what's coming. The Peltz family patriarch, Nelson Peltz, worth an estimated $4 billion, watches his daughter marry into British royalty of a different kind. Sports royalty, fashion royalty, but in his world, that still places them several rungs below his own influence. Brooklyn's wedding vows that day include words that would later haunt his parents. "I promise to honor not just you, but the family that raised you, to be the son they never had." Romantic words, sweet sentiment, but promises that would soon evolve into something much more complicated. 6 months after the wedding, Brooklyn makes his first public declaration that sends shockwaves through the Beckham household. He's considering taking the Peltz name, hyphenating at minimum. Brooklyn Peltz Beckham has a certain ring to it. He tells a reporter. Victoria's phone rings at 3 in the morning, London time. It's Brooklyn calling from New York. "Ma'am, it's not about you and Dad. It's about Nicola's family. They've been so good to me." The conversation that follows lasts 2 hours. Victoria later tells friends it was one of the hardest calls of her life. The Beckham brand isn't just a name. It's a carefully constructed empire built over 2 decades. David's football legacy, Victoria's fashion house, brand partnerships worth hundreds of millions. The name Beckham carries global recognition that money literally cannot buy. But Glenn sees something different in the Peltz family. Acceptance without expectation. Love without the weight of public scrutiny. A father-in-law who treats him not as David Beckham's son, but as simply Brooklyn. Nelson Peltz has a way of making people feel important. It's how he built his fortune, how he influences politics, how he shaped his daughter Nicola into the confident woman who captured Brooklyn's heart at family dinners in the Peltz compound. Brooklyn feels something he's never experienced: normalcy. No paparazzi hiding in bushes. No strangers asking for photos. Just family conversation about business, about life, about dreams that extend beyond the next magazine cover. Victoria notices the change first. Brooklyn's calls home become shorter, less frequent. When he does visit London, his stories are filled with references to Nelson's advice and what Nicola's dad thinks. The family vow Brooklyn makes isn't spoken aloud. It's demonstrated through actions. Choosing to spend Christmas 2023 with the Peltz family instead of the traditional Beckham gathering in the Cotswolds. Missing Romeo's birthday party because Nelson needed help with a business presentation. Small moments that add up to a larger truth. David tries to understand. He remembers being young and in love. Remembers how Victoria's family welcomed him when he was just a football player from East London trying to prove himself worthy of their daughter. But this feels different. More permanent. More final. The breaking point comes in January 2024. Brooklyn announces he's moving permanently to New York. Not just for a few months, not for a project, forever. "I want to be close to Nicola's family," he tells his parents over a video call. "They need me here." The words hang in the digital space between London and Manhattan, like a death sentence to family tradition. Victoria asks the question that's been burning in her chest for months. "What about us, Brooklyn? What about your family here?" Brooklyn's answer cuts deeper than any public criticism ever could. "You'll always be my parents, but the Peltz family is my future." The conversation ends abruptly. Brooklyn's face disappears from the screen, leaving David and Victoria staring at their own reflection in the blank laptop monitor. Behind the scenes, the emotional toll becomes visible to those closest to the family. Victoria throws herself into work with an intensity that worries her staff. David spends hours on the phone with his own father, seeking wisdom about letting go of children who seem determined to drift away. The paparazzi don't capture these moments. The quiet tears in the car after visiting Brooklyn's empty childhood bedroom. The way Victoria's smile doesn't quite reach her eyes at public events. The forced cheerfulness in David's Instagram posts about supporting our children's choices. Friends of the family reveal that Victoria has been seeing a therapist, not for the first time, but with a new urgency. Dealing with empty nest syndrome is difficult enough. Dealing with feeling replaced is something else entirely. Brooklyn's social media tells a different story. Photos with Nelson at business meetings, family dinners at exclusive New York restaurants, Thanksgiving celebrations where he's carved into the Peltz family traditions so seamlessly. It's as if he was born into them. Nicola posts a photo for fathers. Day 2024. Brooklyn and Nelson, arm in arm, with the caption, "To the best father-in-law a girl could ask for, and the son he always wanted." The post gets millions of likes. Victoria sees it at 2 a.m. London time, unable to sleep again. The Beckham family's public response is measured, professional. "We're incredibly proud of Brooklyn and support his happiness above all else," reads a statement from their representatives, but private messages tell a different story. Text threads between Victoria and her closest friends reveal a mother grappling with feeling replaced. Phone calls with Harper, their youngest, become opportunities to ensure she knows how much she means to them. David channels his emotions differently. He increases his involvement with Romeo and Cruz's football careers. He's determined not to lose another son too. Circumstances beyond his control. The irony isn't lost on those who know the family well. David built his career on loyalty, team loyalty, national loyalty, family loyalty. Watching his son pledge that same loyalty to another family feels like the universe playing a cruel joke. Nelson Peltz, for his part, doesn't seem to understand the dynamics he's disrupted. In his world, talent and loyalty are commodities to be acquired. Brooklyn represents both. A famous son-in-law who brings media, tension, and genuine affection to his daughter. But he's also inadvertently become the catalyst for heartache that money cannot heal. Friends close to the family report that David and Victoria are seeing a marriage counselor. Not because their relationship is failing, but because they're learning to navigate grief for a living child who has simply chosen a different path. The grief is real. It's the loss of future family traditions, of grandchildren who might carry different last names, of Christmas mornings that will never look the same, of a son whose primary allegiance now lies across an ocean. Brooklyn's own social media activity reveals glimpses of his internal struggle. Posts about family become carefully worded to avoid favoring either side. Photos with his parents during brief London visits are balanced with equal time showing Peltz family moments. But his actions speak louder. When Nelson Peltz faces business challenges in late 2024, Brooklyn cancels a planned month-long visit to London to support his father-in-law through the crisis. Victoria finds out through a tabloid article, not from her son. The entertainment industry watches this family drama unfold with fascination. It has all the elements of a modern tragedy: wealth, fame, love, loyalty, sacrifice, and the painful recognition that sometimes love requires letting go. Industry insiders speculate about the long-term impact on the Beckham brand. Will Brooklyn eventually return to the family fold? Will he launch his own ventures under the Peltz name? Will future Beckham grandchildren grow up thinking of Nelson Peltz as their primary grandfather figure? These questions keep David awake at night. Victoria fills journals with thoughts she cannot share publicly. The couple's remaining 3 children watch their parents navigate this new reality with varying degrees of understanding. Romeo, now 22, steps into the role of eldest son with sensitivity and grace. Cruz, 20, maintains his distance from family politics while pursuing his music career. Harper, 13, becomes the source of lightness that keeps her parents anchored. As 2025 unfolds, the Beckham family continues to adapt to their new normal. Public appearances maintain the facade of unity. Private moments reveal the ongoing process of redefining what family means when geography and loyalty compete with blood relations. Brooklyn's vow to his in-laws wasn't malicious. It wasn't intended to cause pain. It was the natural evolution of a young man finding his place in the world. But evolution sometimes requires leaving things behind, and the things left behind don't always understand the necessity of the departure. The Peltz family gains a son. The Beckham family learns to love from a distance. And somewhere between New York penthouses and London mansions, a 25-year-old man tries to honor promises made to 2 families who both deserve his love, but compete for his loyalty. The story isn't over. Families evolve. Relationships adapt. Hearts heal, even when they carry permanent scars. But for David and Victoria Beckham, the boy who once promised to make them proud has kept that promise in ways they never expected. He's become a man who chooses love over convenience, commitment over comfort, and loyalty over legacy, even when that choice breaks their hearts a little. More each day, the cameras will continue to capture smiling faces at family gatherings. The tabloids will speculate about reconciliations and rifts. But the real story happens in quiet moments. Phone calls that last a little longer than necessary. Text messages that say, "I love you," a little more frequently than before. Because love adapts, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. This is the Beckham family's new reality. A love story complicated by loyalty. A success story shadowed by sacrifice. A family learning that sometimes the greatest act of love is accepting the choices that take your children further from you than you ever imagined possible. The heartache is real, but so is the love that created it. And in the end, that love will find a way to bridge whatever distance loyalty creates. If this story touched you, there are more untold celebrity family dramas waiting to be discovered. Like and subscribe to dive deeper into the human stories behind the headlines.